Welcome into the Press Box Fantasy Football Show. Glenn Clark, Kyle Ottenheimer, but most importantly, your lovely and talented host, Mr. Ken Zalis. What's going on, KZ?
It's a lovely week 5.
Is it, though? I feel like there's a lot of, at the beginning of the year, every injury is a big deal. And then by the time you get to, week 5, there just starts being injuries that you didn't even hear about during the course of the week.
Everybody's hurt.
Honest to God, I had that happen with 2 different players. I did not know. Maybe it was A.J. Brown. It was somebody that I was like, how did I just go the entire week and not hear about it or not pay attention? There was somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody that I owned in one of my leagues. I woke up Sunday morning, I'm like, that guy's hurt? I genuinely didn't know that. I don't remember. Or I had heard about it, but nobody thought it was all that significant. Right. And so I wasn't making plans around it. But that's the way it goes when we get this deep into the season. The Press Box Fantasy Football Show is brought to you by, I'd say it's brought to you by CCBC. Of course, we appreciate them being partners on the Press Box Fantasy Football Show. If you need to hone your computer skills to boost your career, or maybe you want an IT certification, CCBC Continuing Education has the courses and programs you need for a career in the computer field, and it's all tuition-free. From the basics to specialized training, we have the classes you need, from hardware to programming to cybersecurity and so much more. It's your choice. It's your career. Call 443-840-4700 or visit ccbcmd.edu/computer training. I feel like, with no offense to CCBC, we should really emphasize and it's all tuition free part of it. I feel like maybe we should say that 2 or 3 times as we do that read. All right, sir. If you guys have questions, get them in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. We will pose them to KZ a little bit later on in the program. Let's start with some fallout from some various injuries, and let's begin in Chicago with David Montgomery. How much faith do we have in Damian Williams?
We have some. He's a decent football player. He's not Montgomery, and he's not going to get 100% of the workload or 95% of the workload like Montgomery. I think Khalil Herbert is going to get some work as they go on, and
so you think he needs to be owned?
Who? Herbert?
Herbert.
Oh, yeah, Herbert should be owned. I get the feeling that if Herbert shows well, in his whatever 20% of the touches that he gets, he may be a little bit more featured as we go forward. He's a little bit more dynamic I don't know what that was. A little bit more dynamic of a player than Williams, but Williams is a good player. He's got to be owned. He's probably going to be a top 20-ish back this week. But I just, we're looking at Montgomery gone for 5 weeks. I don't know that Williams is getting as much run as he's going to get this week in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
What about the Cincinnati situation?
So unexciting is Perrine. He's just a plotter. He's not going to be. I think Chris Evans is a guy that you just need to keep an eye on. Maybe he's the.
You say keep an eye on. Should he be owned?
How long is Mixon really expected to be out?
But that's the thing, and here's the problem with Mixon, is we went through this last year, and it was day to day, it was week to week, and 8 weeks later they finally put him on IR. So I don't know, and they don't tell you. So there's nothing. He's not practicing this week. So he's not going to play this week. I don't think. Perrine is not exciting. Chris Evans is the more exciting guy. Does he need to be owned? I don't think we're at a need to be owned. I think if you're looking at your roster and there's Drek on the bottom of it, he's a guy to pick up that is a speculative ad at this point. We always like the speculative ads that could turn into something. Much more excited about Williams than I am Perrine as far as the fill-in guys for this week. I think you may see a pass-heavy attack, especially if Higgins comes back this week and they have their 3 guys there. And Uzoma looked really good last week. Maybe if we get some tight end, you have some four wide type situations. Evans is a guy to keep an eye on. Perrine, needs to be owned because he's going to be a starting running back this week, and there are not many starting running backs that aren't injured this week. So yeah. But I'm not excited. He's not. He's just, as we say, just a guy.
Let's go out to Seattle.
I mean, if you read one report, Chris Carson may be done for the year with a serious neck injury.
And they're saying he's a game-time decision.
And he's a game-time decision, but he hasn't practiced. I don't see how he's really going to play tonight with a neck injury. And, again, coach speak, it's serious. They're concerned about it. I mean, if you're serious and concerned about a neck injury, I don't see how you play football in a short week. Alex Collins needs to be added in all formats. From there, I mean, Homer, DJ Dallas, okay, they've both had moments. I don't think either one needs to be added, but Collins is certainly the guy. When Carson was in and out of the lineup last week, he was the guy that got the touches, and everybody's like, oh, they're splitting carries, blah, blah, blah. When we really didn't know during the game that there was this neck issue. So I think Collins is a guy that, he's going to be a flex worthy. If there's no, I mean, if you find out that Carson is down, and you can throw Collins in there you wouldn't use him as a flex. You would move one of your running backs into the flex because of the Thursday night game. But yeah, he can be used this week.
If where is he ranked? Where is Collins ranked if Carson doesn't play?
So Carson for me was ranked 23rd, 20 to 21. He was 21 for me. Carson probably goes to 24. I would probably.
You mean?
I mean, Collins would go to 24. Would go somewhere around 28 for me.
Okay.
So he's a flex.
Okay, but as you say, you wouldn't play him as a flex because it's Thursday night.
But
if you're playing
Thursday.
him,
but when you're ranking, I mean, he's not.
No, I get
the
it.
Top 24 is RB1, RB2, and then 24 to 36 is RB3/flex.
If you're a Logan Thomas owner,
he's not going to play.
Because you're not. I don't think it's going to be Jay Sternberger that you're going to pick up. Or Ricky Seals-Jones seems like a stretch.
So much money spent on Ricky Seals-Jones was just. I mean, I never even put a bid on him because again, just a guy looked great and filling in. Really sneaky play if you're desperate and it's not a tight end situation. Sneaky play is to keep an eye on the kid Bates, the rookie out of Boise State for the Washington football team. But the sneaky play, if you're in a PPR league, is Adam Humphrey, who will take up that middle slot situation if you're desperate. You're missing Julio, or you don't know if A.J. Brown's going to play, or, Claypool or Juju. He may get, 6-8 targets, 5-6 catches, 50 yards, maybe, kind of be that guy in the slot that takes those routes that Logan Thomas was going to go. But I'm not excited about any of the other. The only one that I would be excited about, because he is a really good athlete and he was a pass catching tight end, would be if Bates ever gets that role. Sternberger, I get it, 25, shown some things.
Oh, I understand why they picked him up.
I can't add him right now.
No, of course not.
So
what are some tight end options that might be out there? Tight end is such you get past the guys and it sucks. In my one, and by the way, I was a Logan Thomas owner in 3 leagues.
Maybe even more.
The best I was able to do is I got Dawson Knox.
Dawson Knox is the guy that you need to add right now. I mean, it's even worse because Hawkinson didn't practice, Kittle didn't practice. I've seen Gesicki on some waiver wires. I think you could go in that direction. Jared Cook, Cameron Brate, Max Williams is a popular pickup this week. He had his moment in the sun last week. He's not going to be consistent, but like you said, after the top 4 or 5, none of them are.
But they're at least a really good offense.
It's a good offense. It's a speculative type of thing. I've added. I saw a lot of people drop Cole Kmet. I know he hasn't done a darn thing, but now that we've gotten Fields as our starting quarterback, you got to hope that offense is a little bit more active, especially in the passing game. Things break down. Young quarterbacks tend to look at their tight ends. We'll see how that works. But like you said, I mean, tight end's garbage. I mean, it just is. And with these guys being, it's Kelsey, Waller, Andrews. Pitts is getting targets. I mean, he's not turning into anything, but at least he's getting targets. God forbid Hawkinson and Kittle don't play this week. Who knows?
Ugh.
Who knows?
It's just so gross.
So
gross.
Which tight end is still around? Will Disley,
Yeah.
Ross Dwelly?
No,
Wesley plays tonight, so he won't have that.
Which tight end? Which tight end that is off the radar is
Dalton Schultz. I'm suddenly in love with.
I mean, look, he's being used. The only thing I look again. It's funny because any tight end that has even a semblance of a good game, everybody's rushing to pick up. Everybody's spending tons of fab money. Look, I like Schultz as a player, but I mean they share with Jarwin. I mean it could be just as easily Blake Jarwin week this week. So
Dan Arnold, huh?
Yeah, Dan Arnold week. Look, I'll say this about Dan Arnold. I was actually
encouraged by how much they used him.
Yeah, I mean he showed up 2 days before the game, and he's running routes and getting targets, and they used him, and that's an offense that could be something if the head coach would just get out of the freaking way of it and realize
there are some other problems.
I'm just talking about, yes, there are, but I'm just talking about in game. Like you're doing things that are being successful, and then all of a sudden you have a lead and you stop doing them, and you lose the game, and you're like, and you're upset. Well, you're an idiot. You don't the things that were right in front of you that were working the whole game. But I am encouraged. Dan Arnold is a guy that I think should be rostered in all leagues because of the way they used him. They obviously said, hey, we need a tight end option in this offense. They grabbed a guy that, we've always liked Dan Arnold because he's that kind of move tight end, and we've always seen little glimpses. But to show up 2 days and get that many targets and to run that many routes for a team.
It's clearly a guy they wanted, too.
Yeah,
it was a trade that.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up a good player. I mean, a decent player.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, real quick, selfishly, who do you like more, Schultz or Brait this week?
I mean, Schultz just because of the usage.
All right, thank you. Every seat is the best seat at M&T Bank Stadium. Don't miss a moment of Ravens football this season. Single game tickets are now available at BaltimoreRavens.com/tickets. And then let's try to go to some good news. The big story last week, of course, was the Carolina Panthers. And for as panicked as we were about Christian McCaffrey, he's back on the practice field this week. What do we make of that? I assume it's as simple as saying if McCaffrey plays, you're playing him. And if he doesn't, can you still play Chuba Hubbard, or are you too turned off by what happened last week?
So, first of all, yes. If McCaffrey plays, we saw this last year. If he plays, you're starting him. You don't have any other choice in most situations with the way the running back landscape is. If I'm a Hubbard owner and I do not own Christian McCaffrey, I am making a trade offer to the Christian McCaffrey owner to try to trade him. The concerning thing about, I don't think that he looked terrible last week, but when they got behind and you're like, this was Mike Davis last year and this has always been McCaffrey, where were the 7 targets in the last 2 drives that meant nothing, and he wasn't in the game?
Yeah.
And something called Rod Smith was the pass-catching guy.
Might seem nice.
Seems like a wonderful guy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a swell fella.
So, he does. But this is a guy that they cut, brought back on the practice squad, and then made active.
I'm with you.
And he's the passing down guy. Doesn't give me the...
It sounds like what you're saying is you wouldn't release
I'm
Chuba
not relieving.
Hubbard.
No, I'm trying to trade him to the McCaffrey owner. And if I have him and McCaffrey doesn't play, I'm probably forced to use him because he's still getting all the work in the run game. I'm just in a PPR situation. I mean, he's not going to be the pass catching guy. We're not looking at 5, 6, 7 targets. We're looking at 1 or 2. So the expectation is less. But I'm also trying to trade him as quickly as I can.
All right. Anything else on the injury front?
Look, running back wise, nothing. We kind of covered all that. A.J. Brown practiced, yay, trending the right direction. T. Higgins practiced limitedly, trending in the right direction. Claypool trending in the right direction. Juju not trending in the right direction. Got a lot of should I drop Juju questions this week.
I'm starting to wonder if I should drop Allen Robinson, by the way.
Well,
God,
yeah.
That's one of the grossest things that I could have ever.
Him and Woods are just like things that are just make your head
Yeah.
explode. No, we're not dropping Juju because he got 8 targets last week. I mean, people just look at box scores. You got to look at what the usage is, and the usage was, as bad as that offense was, he got 8 targets, and in certain weeks, those 8 targets are going to turn into 5 or 6 catches for 60 yards. So no, he's not droppable. Now, am I eagerly using him? I mean, I'm playing Jalen Waddle over him this week in a league, even if Juju is active. So you got that. Also on the wide receiver front, who's the other guy that I wanted to mention, and I can't remember his name. I
wanted to talk about Rashad Bateman, but go ahead.
We'll get there. But Sterling Shepard and Slayton still didn't practice. They're probably out.
Tony looked good.
I mean, he looked good. He should be on everybody's roster. He should be rostered at this point. I think it's going to be really interesting when those guys are healthy, how they use them. And Galladay finally looked like he had a pulse last week. Ingram, you can cut. I'm done. I tried. 2 weeks, I tried. I'm out.
I think at this point in one league I owned all of the Houston backs, and I have cut all of them.
You're saying Evan Ingram.
Oh, Evan Ingram. I thought you said Mark Ingram.
Oh,
Sorry.
no. We were talking about
my fault.
No, but yes, I could be done with all those.
Yes.
And to be quite frankly, outside of Murray, I cut if I needed a space. I cut all the.
I'm rostering Bell in both my leagues.
You know what? He's the only one. Like, he's the speculative guy that at the bottom of your bench. But I mean, Tyson's not going to be a thing. Freeman's not going to be a thing. Maybe Tyson at some point. I don't know, but I dropped him for Collins. I dropped him for Perrine. Yeah. I dropped him for guys I know are going to be active and being usage, and of course that means he probably scores 2 touchdowns
almost
this
certainly.
week. But be that as it may, we got to play it like that.
But with the Ravens in mind, really quickly, do you think that Bateman should be owned?
Yes, he should be owned. But again, I'm not expecting this grandiose rookie season, and I never was expecting it. Because of the Ravens are who they are now.
Suddenly a throwing team.
They are, but you have 3 other guys that are getting targets. I mean, how many targets does he take away, and how many targets a game? If he catches 4 balls a week for 50 yards and scores a touchdown, that's fantastic.
The question is if he takes Watkins' spot.
Well, but that's the thing: is he taking Watkins' spot, and how long does that take? Now, he should be owned if you have room for him, and you're not. But I'm not. He should be owned on your team if you don't have injury problems and you need to play somebody. You're not picking him up to play him this week. You're probably not picking him up to play him in the next 2 weeks.
Right.
But, yes, he should be owned. He's a very talented wide receiver who looked great in practices from all accounts, and they had high hopes for. But, again, the targets were never going to be there this year. And I just – I can't start him. There's no world I can start him.
I agree with that.
But yeah, he's got to be rostered.
All right.
25 leagues, he's rostered in every single one of them.
All right. Very good.
0 shares.
I have none in my 3.
Zip out.
Well, I also play in all 3 leagues that are Baltimore-centric.
Yeah,
so
it's hard. I mean, if it's Baltimore-centric and you had the IR spot,
it
was tough to find him.
Yep. It's what it is.
It is what it is.
You got a lot of questions, and we're going to get to them, I promise. We're going to do that next. In fact, I'm going to let you guys go ahead of me. Maybe. We'll see. It's the Press Box Fantasy Football Show. Ken Zalis is here.
Need to hone your computer skills to boost your career? Or maybe you want an IT certification? CCBC Continuing Education has the courses and programs you need for a career in the computer field. And it's all tuition-free. From the basics to specialized training, we have the classes you need, from hardware to programming to cybersecurity, and so much more. It's your choice. It's your career. Call 443-840-4700 or visit ccbcmd.edu/computer training.
Glory Days Grill's popular Oktoberfest menu is back, and it features their delicious chicken schnitzel, 2 chicken cutlets, hand-breaded in herb panko and pan-fried until golden brown, served with mustard cream sauce, mashed potatoes, and roasted vegetables. Their menu also includes your favorites like the Oktoberfest Brewer's Platter, Brewer's Sausage Sandwich, Prussian Pretzel Roll, Slam Dunk Pretzels, and Apple Cobbler. All of these meals pair well with their many Oktoberfest beers and Angry Orchard on draft. Dine on their patios or in their dining room, or order online at glorydaysgrill.com and pick up your favorites to take home. Glory Days Grill has been proud to serve the community for the last 25 years. Thank you, fans.
If you change lanes and brake suddenly in front of my tractor trailer, I won't be able to stop. Our lives could change forever. Trucks need room to stop. Don't cut it close.
Brought to you by the Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration.
What's up, everybody? This is Tyus Bowser. I can't wait to see you guys for the Tyus Bowser Show this fall. We're going to be taking the show on the road all over the area. You can meet me and my very special guests. If you can't make it out, you can watch the show on live on Pressbox Facebook page or listen the next day. Find out more about where we'll be by checking out PressboxOnline.com/Bowser. We'll see you all season long for the Tyus Bowser Show.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, October 19th at Twain's Tavern in Pasadena. It's brought to you by Pressbox, Grade 8's Memorabilia, and True Strong Services.
We're back. But yeah, we didn't really talk about that on our show at all this week. Ken and I were in agreement about the thing from Sunday. I eased up on it as the days went on, and the only issue that I had is this constant attempts that we've been doing to try to make false equivalencies.
Right,
like John Harbaugh trying to compare it to trying to win the football game, and then people trying to bring up this bizarre random situation from a year ago where Drew Lock threw the ball on the final play because a knee wouldn't have run the clock out.
Correct.
They're not the same, no matter how
same.
badly you want them to be the same. They're not.
It's just really funny.
It's very strange.
Anyway.
All right, remind everybody why they should be playing underdog fantasy football.
Because it's fun and you can win money. And more importantly, you can go to Underdog right now and join. And as long as you make a minimum deposit of $10 and you put in the code PRESSBOX, you're going to get $10 to play with for free. But you can do this in so many ways. You can do weekly drafts. You can still play best ball up until the start of week 6. They're having something that they call like Best Ball Resurrection, where you can still do a best ball league, which is just draft against people. You could do player props. You could do rivals within the same team. You know, who's going to get more receiving yards today, Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods? And you know, and it may be like Robert Woods minus or plus 38 versus Cooper Kupp. You can do this in so many different ways.
I bet Cooper Kupp.
I would too, but I had somebody arguing with me that this could be the week that Robert Woods gets 100 yards and a touchdown. I was like, yeah, I said that last week.
Right, maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
Right.
I mean, you want to, and if you think it is, you can play that prop.
Right, exactly. Right.
But the great part is like for as little as $1, you can win $20 just by getting 5 player props right or 5 over-unders right, things like that. And it's just a different way to do DFS, and you can play against other people, but you're also playing against yourself and props. You're not playing against thousands or maybe millions of different people and different lineups. You select what you like best, what you think is going to happen in the game, and if you win, if you get it correct, you win money, and if you don't, you. So
I might say congratulations, you played yourself is something that I might say.
You might say that.
I might say that.
I'm having a ton of fun with it. It's a new way to play. Until the state of Maryland has player prop betting. This is the next best thing right now in this state. So go ahead, join, give it a chance. You get $10, so there's really no risk.
All right, Ben in San Francisco. Good morning. It's afternoon here now, Ben. Half point PBR flex question: Jamison Crowder, Nyheim Hines, or Nelson Aguilar? Is Nyheim Hines hurt? What happened there?
Yeah, he's a little nicked up. But they're both nicked up. It was a weird thing. They didn't want to play Marlon Mack the week before, but then they were forced to in the fourth quarter last week. I'm going to go Aguilar here. I get it. None of these are sexy. None of these are thrilling, plays. But I did like what I saw last week, and I think the passing game comes along as we go forward.
I started to feel something there too.
I mean,
and I don't care for it because it makes me think that they could be a threat again. It's not this
Well,
year. Not this year.
Not this year.
but-
But it looks like they may have found they chose the quarterback properly for what they do.
Yep.
And he fits what they do, and he
It's
looks good.
very reminiscent of
He
what
looked
they
good.
did with Tom Brady once upon a
Yeah,
time.
look,
It's very
yeah,
reminiscent.
we're not going to go there yet.
I'm
but
not.
Yes,
It's very different things.
Very
I'm not
different things.
saying he's Tom Brady.
No.
I'm saying it's
It's
reminiscent of what they did
he
with
looks
Tom
good.
Brady.
He looks good. He looks competent. Looks like an NFL quarterback, and he's got
Yep.
He's got Aguilar and he's got Myers and Harris. Looks like he's as long as he's healthy is a good back, and they got those two tight ends that are professional tight ends, and he's got an offense around them.
Matt Myers, can I afford another performance from Dalvin Cook, Chris Carson, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, T.J. Hawkins? He just wants to complain. That's all. I just realized what this is. He's just complaining about his team.
I'm going to say
That's
I'm
all
going to
it
go out
is.
on a limb and say no, you can't.
Yeah, you can't. Oh, by the way, Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Swift last week.
Oof.
That was a
There were a the dud list.
Supposed to trade for Dalvin Cook still.
The dud list last week was the who's who of fantasy football. So.
Oh, it was so gross,
gross.
man. It was so gross. Luke Jackson
Hi, Luke.
asked this question, of course, press box's own, but he doesn't. Just says stick with Damian Harris or in the flex or look for other options at this point.
I like Harris this week. You know what I was most encouraged about Harris is that he is getting more and more involved in the passing game now that James White is not there, and that is
Brandon Bolden's taking the bulk of the work. in that
he is.
way, yeah.
But when you go from 0 to 4 targets, I'm encouraged. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by that. If I can get 4 extra points in the passing game, 2 for 20, I like that from a guy that is going to get all the goal line work. I like how they're using him.
James Robinson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and DeAndre Swift start 2.
Well, it's James Robinson. Let's just put that.
I hope it is.
Keep on telling everybody. There's a buddy
is.
of mine said maybe one day.
You told me last week to start
Oh.
Chuba Hubbard over James Robinson.
I did, but he
yeah,
was a better player.
thanks for that.
But there's a guy, But we're gonna go CEH.
You also told me Justin Herbert stinks.
He did for 2 weeks. Wish he'd throw the ball to Mike Williams, but I digress. James Robinson and CH.
James Robinson. Oh, and Edwards-Helaire over Swift. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Very
Yes.
good.
Swift thing is starting to be a pain in the neck.
He's been great for 3 weeks, and then he had an off one last week.
I don't like, but I still don't like how they're using.
They're
it.
using Williams a lot.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
It is really annoying. I agree with
So
that.
annoying.
It's
To be fair,
very
they played
annoying.
pretty poorly as a whole team last week. So
They
maybe
did.
maybe they wise up,
Maybe.
Maybe. Jamar Chase, Cortland Sutton, Calvin Ridley, and Marquise Brown got a bench 1.
Give me those again. You flew through them.
Jamar Chase, Cortland Sutton, Calvin Ridley, who
I know.
we're not. What
I
the-
know.
what
I
are we
got
doing there?
asked about that.
And Hollywood Brown got a bench 1.
Sudden, just based on the quarterback and all that mess.
Oh, right. Yeah, Drew Lock's a thing. Drew Lock is a thing. All right, I've got a question for you. I want to pick up Chris Evans in a league. It was a league where I got P. Ryan. I'm not going to play him, but I want to pick up Evans. Would you drop... Yeah, I would have to either drop Chuba... Yeah.
I'm going back to a question.
Yeah.
I want Swift over CH.
Okay.
Sorry. Swift and Robinson.
Okay, there you go.
Changed my mind. Talked myself out of it. Okay, what's your
Very
question?
good. I want to drop... Or I want to pick up Evans.
You do.
But
But-
I don't... Do I drop Le'Veon? Do I drop...
They're the same player. They're both speculative. Or
Do I drop Hubbard?
No, you're not dropping Hubbard.
Do I... This is my keeper league. Do I drop Cam Akers
No.
and move Logan Thomas to my IR spot?
No.
Okay, so
No,
I'm
I
just
don't like
not...
that to keeper.
I'm just not picking up Evans,
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
I mean, if you think... Okay, so my team, I have more kind of hope for Evans being a thing than Bell being a thing. But
Bell at least will be involved for the season at least,
sooner,
whereas Evans, you don't even know how long he
we
has an
don't know.
opportunity for.
I mean, he's got... Evans has played every week.
Well, he's a good pass-catching back. He's
a good
talented player, Michigan guy.
Yeah. So he's been involved every week, which is a good thing. You would think maybe a little bit more now, mixing out. Bell, again, they're both speculative to me. I don't know. I don't know what the Ravens are doing at running back. I'd probably avoid it.
But you wouldn't drop him for Evans.
No.
Okay. Nick Kelly, thanks again for the James Robinson call last week. This week,
See? I'm just
jerk. I would play Chuba Hubbard if I were.
He was ranked higher.
Pitts or Knox is his question.
Pitts or Knox? I get it. I do. I mean, it's still Pitts for me. Knox is still touchdown dependent, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Pitts.
All right, Kyle.
They're close. They're 6 and 8 for me this week.
I am assuming Damian Harris over Javonte Williams.
Yes.
All right. Let's see about how do you like a decision between Damian Williams, Corey Davis, Jacoby Myers, and Emmanuel Sanders? I suppose Latavius Murray, but currently I have Williams in the flex.
Half point.
Yes.
Who'd you say after Myers?
Emmanuel Sanders, Latavius Murray.
Kind of like Sanders against a high-scoring game this week. I get the Williams thing, and I do, and I like Williams this week.
Now, would you play Sanders over? Would you play Sanders over Higgins?
No. If Higgins practices fully, you're just on fire.
Very
today.
frustrating.
I'm gonna go Williams. The matchup's good enough against Vegas. I want a piece of that Buffalo.
I get it.
I want a piece of that game, but let's go with what we know, which is probably 15 to 17 touches and a good chance to score a touchdown at some point.
And then if Higgins is limited throughout the week, then you consider Sanders over him?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, what about Edwards-Helaire or Kareem Hunt?
I bet you they're going to be so close, but I'm going to take Hunt over Edwards-Helaire. The only way I see Cleveland doing this is limiting and using their running backs, which they've done a lot of, like the usage. CH is weird for me. He just doesn't get enough in the passing game for me to put him over guys like Hunt that potentially get 6 catches.
Okay. Need 2 of Beckham, Jacoby Myers, Corey Davis, and Michael Pittman.
Give me Davis and Myers.
Good.
And then if Gronk plays, are you playing him over Fant?
Gronk's not playing, so let's not even go down that road.
There it is. All right. Myles Gaskin, Henry Ruggs, or Christian Kirk?
No, we're not playing Gaskin. Until Gaskin is on the dead to me list until they figure out consistently what they're going to do with him, because that was just awful last week. Ruggs or who?
Kirk.
Give me Kirk.
Okay. James Conner or Mecole Hardman?
Conner.
Okay.
I mean, we can't. I mean, I know we all want the Mecole Hardman thing to work.
It's definitely not been a thing.
It's just not working.
Speaking of not being a thing, Allen Robinson or Hunter Renfrow?
This is where we are.
It's definitely where we are.
This is where we are.
There's one league where I want so badly to play Hunter Renfrow that I almost played him over Mike Evans. Like, I just so badly want to put Hunter Renfrow in my lineup every week that I was like, God, I might do it, but I didn't.
I'm still going Robinson. I'm not mad if you go the other way. I mean, and I have...
This is Dave, by the way.
I have Robinson as low as I can ever remember ranking him, which is 34th this week.
Oof. Shudder.
But the Bears do have a good defense, and they can put pressure. I'm just kind of staying away from Vegas as much as I can outside, this week. I don't have a really good explosive offensive performance feeling from them.
Okay.
And Robinson's too good. He's too good. And one more time.
All right. Well, going back to the well.
One more time.
Going back to the well. Anything else we need to know this week?
Yes, there are lots of things we need to know. There is a London game at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
a barn burner of a game.
I mean, there's not a lot of fantasy implications in this one.
I
but
mean,
Calvin Ridley.
Yes, Ridley.
Cordell Patterson.
You know, there's some things. I mean,
I said it. There's not a lot. That was my point. There's not a lot.
But we
there's
have
some.
football
There's not a lot.
at 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. or 12:30 a.m. this week. So, yay. The bye weeks start next week. I know we don't like to talk about those type of
But
things.
at least it's not week 4. At least the bye weeks waited a little bit longer.
Sure.
This year.
Sure.
I mean, I do appreciate that for what it's worth. But it's gonna be a problem. Yeah.
But you need to look ahead.
Right.
All I'm saying is
Be prepared.
be prepared. Look now.
Right. Go get whatever you need to go get.
And figure out what you need to get and understand.
Like, for
who's
example,
hurt.
I have both Calvin Ridley and Alvin Kamara on bye in one league next week.
I mean,
so I'm
gonna
going to
be a
have to play.
problem.
I'm going to have to play Javonte Williams and Hunter Renfrow.
Okay, well that's
So I'm
not
covered.
a terrible
Yeah.
situation, but there are people in worse situations. If you are 0-4
Yeah.
and you have not made a trade this week, you are playing fantasy football wrong.
No, I mean,
You're playing it wrong.
all right.
You're playing it wrong.
All right.
If the only thing going for you is Alvin Kamara, and you're 0-4, and you can get 2 players for Alvin Kamara, go do it. Like, you're 0-4. You cannot go 0-5. 0-5 teams usually do not make the playoffs. Now,
0-4 teams don't normally make the playoffs.
well, you got. I mean,
I get it.
I'm just saying. I
get
mean,
it.
you gotta. This is the evaluation week for me. I don't panic, but if you're 0-4, or even if you're 1-3 and last in the league in points, you need to do something. Going to the waiver wire at this point is just not going to turn. There's not a player that you picked up this week that is going to turn your season around. You need to trade some value and try to get some guys that can fill in some holes that are giving you donuts.
Yep.
So.
All right, very good. Hey, we had a great feast from Glory Days Grill. Real shame you weren't here yesterday, Ken. So it's a bummer that you missed out on the delicious chicken schnitzel and the slam dunk pretzels and the Brewer's sausage platter.
Must have missed that evening.
Yeah, it's they were like, hey, we could bring it in on Thursday, and I was like, Wednesday's a good day too if you want it.
It's okay. Yeah.
We love Glory Days Grill. The Oktoberfest menu is phenomenal. GloryDaysGrill.com. Get your order in, bring it home tonight, or dine out on the patio or in your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Love Glory Days Grill. At Fans Fantasy on Twitter, that's how you follow them if you didn't get your question in. We will see you next Thursday. KZ, appreciate you, pal.
Thank you.
This has been the Press Box Fantasy Football Show.